There's a heavy price to pay for disturbing the ground beneath our feet. It's a cost many who find their perfect dream home never imagine paying ... until it's far too late. This is the chilling story of a house built on forgotten earth. Land that once cradled more than just soil and grass, it held the dead. Years ago, long before this land was carved up, surveyed, and sold off to the highest bidder, it served a different purpose. It was an unmarked burial ground. There were no headstones, no neat rows of markers, no official records. The only evidence that remained were whispered warnings from the older townsfolk, stories told in hushed, fearful tones. Over time, the graves were lost, swallowed by layers of progress and collective forgetfulness. So when the property was finally sold, the new owners were ecstatic. They saw a beautiful modern home in a quiet, peaceful neighborhood. It was the perfect place to start fresh, build new memories, and live out their dreams. But from the very first moment they stepped over the threshold, they felt it. Something was wrong. It began with small, easily dismissible things. Doors would creak open on their own, even when they were certain they had closed them. They'd hear soft whispers, always just on the edge of hearing, like a radio playing in another room. Shadows would slip and slide in the corners of their vision, but when they turned to look, there was never anyone there. The strange occurrences quickly escalated. Night after night, the family was jolted awake by unexplained sounds. Loud thuds from deep inside the walls. The distinct sound of footsteps pacing the upstairs hallway when everyone was asleep. Faint, sorrowful murmurs that seemed to thread through the silent rooms, carrying a sense of deep unease. The neighbors started to whisper too. They shared stories among themselves of strange lights flickering behind the curtained windows long after the family had gone to bed. Some claimed to hear faint screams carried on the midnight breeze, only to dismiss them as the wind or a trick of the ear. A few even swore that the house itself seemed to breathe, inhaling and exhaling with the echoes of those buried beneath its foundation. When the terrified family finally decided they had to leave, it was as if the house itself wouldn't let them go. A series of bizarre, unlucky accidents plagued their attempts to move. Their car would stall in the driveway for no reason, the engine suddenly dead. A box of cherished family photos would shatter on the floor, the glass splintering into 1,000 pieces. Unexplained, bone-deep chills would steal all the warmth from a room, leaving them shivering in the middle of summer. It was as if the ground, disturbed and angry, refused to let its dark secrets be ignored any longer. But every attempt to warn potential new buyers was met with disbelief. People saw a bargain, a beautiful house for a low price, and dismissed the family's frantic warnings as a desperate tactic to get out of their mortgage. The real estate agent would just smile, assuring them the house had great bones and was a solid investment, and so inevitably the next family moved in. And the haunting began all over again, fresh and relentless. The land remembered. The spirits of those buried without name or stone, without respect or remembrance, rose from their unrestful sleep. They clawed at the thin veils separating our world from theirs, desperate to be seen, to be heard, to finally be acknowledged. Each new family that dared to call the house a home added new chapters to its terrifying story. They spoke of seeing shadowy figures standing at the windows, watching the street with empty eyes. They reported the horrifying sensation of cold, unseen hands brushing against the backs of their necks in the dead of night. They mapped out unexplainable cold spots throughout the house where the temperature would plummet, places where warmth simply could not exist. The house became a prison for the living and a beacon for the dead. The older locals spoke of an ancient curse, a belief that land so desecrated could never know peace until the dead were properly honored and laid to rest. But city planners, focused on zoning laws and permits, ignored the warnings. Developers, with their eyes on profit margins, shrugged off the stories as nothing more than local superstition. And the real estate agents? They just saw dollar signs. And so the cycle continues to this day. Each new sale is a fresh breach of sacred ground. Each new family is fresh prey for the restless spirits. The price drops a little lower each time, making the trap even more tempting for the next unsuspecting victim. It serves as a grim reminder that some places are not meant to be homes. Some earth holds memories too dark, too deep to be paved over and forgotten. Because waking the dead from their long, silent rest always comes with a terrible price. And sometimes, no matter how deep you dig the foundation, the past refuses to stay buried. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy stories that explore the darker side of history and the unexplained, make sure to like and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one.